Hey, this is Christopher Sorrell, and today I'll be talking about the role of the teacher. The role of the teacher is, misunderstood by society. They think we're just babysitters who just teach, how to read and write, but, the role of the teacher is so much more. Obviously, the first role is to teach. We must completely understand the content of what we're teaching. We need to be, facilitators. And what that means is that we need to know how to get the information out, and then we need to give the students strategies to master it. And then teachers need to relate their content, toward, students' interests or cultures, for them to better, understand it. For example, a student that maybe has like a Native American culture, and they express it a lot, maybe go find a book, to read to the students, about Native Americans. And, so that kid, he is able to express his culture, truly understand the content of what you're trying to teach. And then also, use differentiated instruction to meet, the academic level of every student so they don't feel left out. And so they're not confused and, they're wondering, how are you teaching this? This is kind of too difficult for me. And then you have to go back and they struggle. And it's just a bunch of stuff that you don't want to go through. But, as teachers, we need to use differentiated instruction so that every kid, is able to meet their academic needs. Teachers also need to be disciplinarians. They need to create rules and procedures for classroom management. They need to be able to have punishments, either positive or negative, and they need to be consistent. An example is like a student who never acts up. If you don't punish that child, the students are going to see that and they're going to think, well, then maybe I can act up. That's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to be consistent no matter who it is, what they are. Doesn't matter. You got to be consistent with your punishments. Yeah, y'all. Teacher's role is also creating a safe place to learn. You don't know the student's background. Example that I gave. A student who doesn't have a good home life. They need to have a safe place to go to. A place where they can express themselves and be who they are and grow as people. Teachers also need to prevent bullying. They need to understand that, there is no tolerating bullying whatsoever, and they need to make their students aware of that. They need to report it right away. They shouldn't be scared to report it. If a student comes up to them and says, hey, I'm being bullied, or I know somebody's being bullied, they cannot just ignore it. They need to report it to the guidance counselor, administrator, or parents. And they should also let their students know the serious effects of bullying and, what it can cause and, what exactly, students do to themselves when they are bullied. And then also, teachers need to be planners. They need to plan their lessons ahead of time. They need to find appropriate materials and activities that correlate to the lesson. They need to meet all their students' needs, and then they also need to relate the content back to the cultural backgrounds. And then they need to break the standards down and try to make it simpler for the students so it's not just one big clump of something, it's just parts of something that can build up to something more. Teachers also need to be ethical in and out of the classroom. In the classroom, you got to treat your kids equally and equitably. It doesn't matter their race, religion, gender. You got to treat them with respect, no matter what, whether you agree with it or not. And then, you need to be positive role models outside the classroom. Everybody's watching, especially if you're in a small town. Everybody's watching, and you need to be the person that you want students to see you. You don't need to be out getting drunk and partying, acting stupid. You need to be a well-respected citizen. An activity I would like y'all to do, whoever is watching, find a partner, and then one be a student, one be the teacher. Decide together what role you would like to demonstrate, and then create a scenario. If you're wanting to be a teacher, maybe create a scenario where you're trying to teach a lesson. And, just try to give strategies for that student to master and where they're able to learn and then, move on and build upon it. And then discuss, importance of that role and how it's difficult to manage. A little small Q&A. Couple questions for you. How do teachers perform all these roles at once? They don't. Normally it's all spaced out. Safe environment for their students. Mainly it's just, be there for them and let them express themselves. How much preparation is needed for each week? Usually a good good amount. And then why are teachers paid so little? I have no idea.